Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your dry fire? You're a dry fire king. I follow you quite a bit. I'd love to hear a little bit about that more. But also, too, would you talk about some realistic methods that you use, either mentally but also physically, to not just improve in dry fire, but other areas of life? What are things that others can do to mentally grow with their skills in the handgun world that might apply other places? So both dry fire and just the mental side of that.
So with dry fire, I approach my dry fire the same way I do my live fire, right? Which means I have a plan. I regiment, just think about and Laura and I kind of talked about this yesterday about like going to the gym, right? And everybody generally January 1st has got that, that like, man, this is my New Year's resolution. I'm going to get myself in shape. But they go to the gym and they have zero plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're afraid to talk to somebody that might be able to help them develop or coordinate a plan or a training regimen, right? But dry fire is a lot like that. I mean, it's not a lot like that. It's exactly like that. You've got to have a plan when you go in. You can't just go like when you go to the gym and you see just this plethora of equipment. You go, I guess I'm going to do a little bit of this and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and right, and then you do everything and you're wore out, but you've really never accomplished anything. And in dry fire, we do the same thing. Like we buy the best books, right? And there's a ton of material out there, right? Steve Anderson has got the dry fire, the dry fire Bible, right? Refinement and Repetition. It's been around for a number of years. Ben Steger has got some incredible dry fire books and how to practice books. But everything about those books is it's such an overabundance of information, but there's no guidance really on, well, what do I do first? Right? I mean, you could flip to page 150 and it's the same information that it is on page 5. So it's like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to do from page 5 to page 150 all in one day today. And we overwhelm ourselves. This leads to burnout. So knowing that you're better off to practice small incremental things, but stay 100% focused mentally and physically on, say, 2 to 3 exercises throughout that one particular evening or day or morning of dry fire, instead of trying to hit on everything. Like I kind of break everything down in kind of a regimented like workout session, like a split routine, right? Like, okay, today's gun handling stuff. I'm going to work on draws. I'm going to work on reloads. I'm going to work on maybe table pickups or oddball start positions or something like that, right? Don't think for a moment that these same things do not apply as a defender or as in the context of self-defense, right? So being able to learn how to pick up the gun off of a table is just as important as being able to learn how to grasp the gun from the holster and present the gun, right? And be able to grip the same way. I mean, there's times that you're doing other things. Think about how I would get in the gun, like open a drawer to pick the gun up and take the gun out of the holster, or take the gun up out of the drawer and be able to, to build a grip on the gun, to present the gun properly or consistently. So I look at those kind of things as like gun handling. And when I'm working on gun handling day, I just listed 5 or 6 different things that you could do. I would limit it to 2 or 3. I'm going to spend 20 minutes a day. I'm going to spend 10 minutes on draws, and I'm going to spend 10 minutes on, let's say, table pickups, right? And then maybe the next time that I revisit gun handling, I work on reloads for 10 or 15 minutes, and I work on, like, say, unloaded starts, right? Because they're related to each other.
Gotcha.
So, and then like maybe another day I work on just visual exercises, transitioning the gun from one target to another target, from a large target to a small target, from a near target to a far target, or a multitude of targets. And then I'm completely isolated from anything else. I'm not working on drawing the gun. I'm not working on adding any other complexities. I want to spend my entire 20 or 30 minutes, or maybe even just 10 minutes of dry fire, hard focused with 100% effort on that one particular thing, or those 2 particular things that I'm going to work on in that dry fire session. I have to be 100% enveloped and engrossed in those things. Right.
So do you cycle that through kind of on a regular basis, or just as you feel it, or is that part of the plan? You set it up on a cycle?
I do. I kind of set it up on a cycle. There are other times though that just like a workout routine, you get stagnant, right? We get burnout if we continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. So this is where, again, a lot of those books that I mentioned, like so Steve Anderson's book has got a multitude of drills and exercises in it. Ben Steger's book is phenomenal for it. It's got a multitude of drills. I can open up a book and I can spend 10 minutes. You're going to spend hours reading the book. So spend 10 minutes going back through the book and looking at related exercises, right? Hey, that's a gun handling exercise, or hey, that's more of a vision exercise or transition exercise, or oh, that's a movement exercise. So that's going to go and kind of go into my movement regimen, and this is going to go into my gun handling regimen, and this might go into my vision regimen. And so then I've got different things to kind of pick and pull from to keep every dry fire, like every dry fire regimen or every dry fire session, fresh and new. The other thing you should be doing in dry fire is keeping a practice log.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to keep a journal. Adam, you've taken that class though with AJ and I. That was the number one thing that we endorsed and encouraged more than anything else was taking notes, right? Whether those notes are dry fire or live fire, and they should be both, right? Because that's the way you're able to mark your improvement. If you're not marking your improvement, then how can you tell whether you're actually improving or not? And generally, a lot of times we spin our wheels without realizing that we are improving, but we're not marking the improvement in a book for us to go back to or in a journal to go back to and see, oh my God, 5 weeks ago when I revisited this and I didn't feel like I was making any improvement. And we go back five pages in our journal of 5 weeks ago when we visited that again, we go, oh, wait a minute, I have improved. I'm not plateauing like I thought I was.
So that's one of the nuggets I got out of that class. And ever since then, that's actually changed my own dry fire and ultimately changed the shooting. I actually have a ton more questions for you. I'm hoping you'll be willing to come back. But Laura, I know there's a bunch of audience questions on here that are really good. So maybe we should turn that back to you.